So I want to talk a little bit about what's been going on since my last video. The weather, unfortunately, has just been abysmally awful. And since my last video, I haven't done really anything in terms of beekeeping, with the exception of feeding daily. We've had overnight lows down in the 30s. We've even seen snow. There's been a lot of rain. It's just been pretty miserable. Some days the bees are not even out flying at all. And other days they're out when they can get out between the breaks of rain to collect nectar and pollen. I have been seeing some pollen coming, which is a good sign. The dandelions are all blooming here. In fact, the field just a couple hundred feet from the apiary is absolutely loaded with dandelions, which is pretty cool to see. And my big cherry tree, which, my biggest one, is blossoming, and it's absolutely beautiful. And it's loaded with bees. And if you stand underneath it on a nice afternoon, the entire tree is just alive and buzzing. It's really a cool thing to experience. The bees are just all over it, gathering pollen and nectar. Here I am in my hayfield right next to the apiary, and you can see it's just endless dandelions as far as the eye can see. So there's no shortage of dandelions for the bees. This is pretty cool to see. Now, I certainly don't have any expertise on native pollinators or really anything aside from honeybees, but there are some other things out here pollinating. They're not honeybees. I'm not exactly sure what they are. They kind of look like miniature bumblebees. I'll have to do some research to figure that out. They're likely some sort of solitary native bee, but they're out here in the dandelions as well. So my next order of business, which will be, in another week or two here when the weather gets a little bit better, making splits. I do have 2 hive bodies reserved and bases and covers built up. With the weather being the way it is, I'm just a little hesitant to split right now. I'm going to wait just a couple more weeks, probably early May, first week of May maybe, again, depending on how the weather is. I don't want the nights to be too cold because I don't want to, there's the risk of chilled brood where the bees just can't keep the hive warm enough, to raise a new queen and to raise young. And with a split, you're always starting with a smaller quantity of bees than, a hive would normally have this time of year. So that's always a risk. So I know this was a short one. I do appreciate you watching, and I'll be back again soon here when I'm making splits. Just give me another week or two, and let's hope the weather holds out.